HTS and VHTS activities at work, W-O-R-K. So this is Roman Jaresch from Deutschland. Yeah. Okay, wish you well.
So thank you very much for the invitation. When we start, or the company originated 30 years back as an R&D company. So developing and research is in our genes. We love it. Yeah, it's in our blood. And these days, with all these new technical advancements, with these changes in the industry, you know, we like it very much because it's something for our engineers where they can really, you know, show what they can do. They love this kind of technical challenges. And one of these technical challenges are these new high throughput satellites or very high throughput satellites, which we see as a chance for us. So within the SATCOM department, we got two groups. One group deals with analog products, which are mainly converters in all flavors. And the second group is what we call the digital products, which are mainly modulators, demodulators, and modems. So for the analog products, they focus right now on Q and V band. So the majority of the current business is Ka band for us, but we see Q and V band actually as the coming standard for us almost. Yeah, so we are very knowledgeable in that. We started actually the first project in 2015, and this is right now, yeah, also the commercial focus for us. So what are the factors to consider? It's the technology. The atmosphere might be a problem, as we've heard. Phase noise, very, very important. And these factors leads us to a certain converter architecture, which I'm going to explain. And then I'm going to present some examples. So the technological trend. In the past, we used CKU band 10, 15 years back. Then we moved on to DBS band 5, 6, 7 years back. We moved to Ka band. And now, these frequency bands are not fully filled, but nevertheless, they already cannot meet the expected demand. So the logical way is to move up higher in frequency. Yeah, so it's more or less inevitable for us to go in that frequency range in the future. So one of the challenges is the atmosphere. So the lowest level, these 10, 20 kilometers above the surface, Earth's surface, they contain many water and oxygen molecules. As much as we love these elements and we need them, you know, they basically are killers for microwave transmission. So in the past, CKU band was not a big deal. I mean, there was a rain fade, don't get me wrong, but you could easily compensate for that with higher transmitting power. So SATCOM just put up a little bit more power, right? could sell a little bit more power, and that's it. In Ka band, it was a little bit more severe, this impact. And you start seeing demand for a second location. You had sometimes to have a second, you know, a backup location which was located somewhere far away. So in case one location was not able to maintain that service, you had to switch over the service to the backup side. And even more severe is that effect in V and Q band. Another essential aspect is the phase noise. In the past, typically, the modulation techniques that were used, they were robust. They did not really require a lot of or strict requirement. They didn't have strict requirements for phase noise. Yeah, so the phase noise was not of such big issue. These days, where you try to be as efficient as possible, you know, to get out of your system as much as possible to provide as many data as possible, you use higher mode codes. And they are much more sensitive towards phase noise as the previous ones. So phase noise is also very, very important actually in these frequencies and higher modulation codes. So this picture also shows the difference between, let's say, the traditional requirements for phase noise and the current requirements. So we are having two somehow contradictory requirements. On one hand side, the V band is a wide band, so you have a large frequency range which you need to cover. On the other hand, the phase noise should be as low as possible. That's crucial. And in order to meet these two requirements, we have chosen a two-stage approach. So we go from L band to an intermediate frequency, and then in the second stage, convert then to the V band. This approach allows you actually to use relatively low frequency of the local oscillator. The higher this frequency, the more noise you basically generate. Yeah, so that allows you actually to have relatively low phase noise, and in the first stage, you still cover all the band. So you have multiple channels to cover the band, and basically low oscillator, local oscillator frequency. Here are some examples. As I mentioned, we started actually that activities in 2015, and each year we had at least one development project. Yeah, so we actually were ahead of the market. Yeah, and we're hoping actually last year or even the year before that will pick up. Yeah, so each year we had at least one development project, but finally this year we got a large multi-million euro project, and the shipment actually starts in a couple of weeks. And you see the product in the left corner. It's ready to use product. Yeah, it's nothing. It's not a lab unit or anything like that. It's field tested basically, and it's ready to go. So the other group deals with digital products, modulators, demodulators, and modems. And for them, the focus is on wideband. We've heard in previous presentations, there is a high demand for more data. So we need the bandwidth. Yeah, so we develop actually modulator and demodulator for wideband application, which I'm going to present in ESA project. And the second important point, you don't need only a lot of data, you need to be flexible. We've heard in another presentations, there will be satellites with 4,000 beams. And not only you want to switch on the beam and switch it off, you always want to steer it. You want to beam, to hop the beams, to have more flexibility. So that's also something we deal with these days already. And then I present some examples of products. Oh, I have to hurry up. Okay, so this is the ESA project. We provided the modulator and demodulator. Wideband application, we were able to reach up to 500 megasymbols per second, both ways. Not only one way, but both ways. And it was fairly impressive. All the participants were impressed. And it has proven that wideband actually is a good application, or it's a great tool actually for these high throughput satellite systems. Beam hopping, also very challenging. We had a project this year with Eutelsat and Fraunhofer Institute together. And everything went well. Actually, Eutelsat was very surprised. And it was proven that this technology will most likely be used on the next generation quantum satellites. So we developed a modulator, which are actually, there are a number of modulators in the market, but there's a lack of demodulators. So we also have a demodulator and combine that in a modem. of course, all products, we have a very flexible, scalable platform, so you can integrate these things easily into OEM systems. You can have them indoor, outdoor, whatever fashion. And what I want you to take with you home is, if you think of converters, especially VQ band, you think of work microwave. If you think of wideband modulators, demodulators, modems, you think of work microwave, please. Thank you very much for your attention. I know customs, right? Thank you very much.
Well done, thank you.